Hey kids, this is Brian Walsby here, and I'm talking to you today and doing this thing where I'm going to be trying to sell some original artwork. And I thought, well, as long as I'm going to try to sell original artwork, I might as well tell stories, short stories, not boring, hopefully, about the artwork. And I got some stuff here that was either made into bifocal media t-shirts, Charles Cardello's company, or maybe never even made it to being a t-shirt. And I'm going to be trying to offer this stuff here for sale to you guys. If you want to just write me at reluctantking@hotmail.com if you're interested in anything. I'm sure we can work something out. Super inflated prices. Well, that's not going to be what anybody has to deal with here. I'm going to be pretty realistic about everything. Anyway, let's start with some of this stuff. So this here is my favorite guitar player that ever came out of whatever they want to call heavy metal. It's the late Dennis D'Amore. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's Piggy from Voivod. The most original guitar player probably to ever come out of heavy metal. Even calling Voivod heavy metal is kind of sort of a disservice, but they remain probably ultimately my favorite heavy metal band. Still going strong even without Piggy, but his influence looms very large. And as you can see, I paid tribute to all of Michel, the drummer, away, all of his cool artwork that he's adorned with various Voivod album covers. Like there's the Phobos Moon, Out of the Limits, Alien Guy. I think that's from Angel Rat. I think that's from Nothing Face, and that's also from Angel Rat. And that's this cool, weird-looking guitar. Anyway, is this interesting? If it is, drop me a line. Moving along, this is DeCroizen. This definitely got made into a t-shirt for bifocal media. They let us do like 2 or 3 shirts, I think, at this point. I've always loved DeCroizen. They probably had the distinction of having one of the best hardcore punk rock records, 1984's self-titled debut album, and the rest of their records are, I think, good and varied and different. They were always like a really good band. You know, you could say they never got what they deserved, but you know, their influence is definitely looms large. And I think, you know, I think they definitely have a certain amount of good rep, I think. I mean, they really were good. Each of them were masters at their instruments, and they all came from Milwaukee. Anyway, that's all of them. And if this is interesting to you, if you want it, write me a line. Write me a message, rather. Tales of Terror. I first heard of the Tales of Terror record maybe right after I moved to North Carolina in early 1986. This record and band were really ahead of their time. I believe they were from Sacramento. The only other bands I knew from Sacramento were Rebel Truth back then, and I think some of these guys had a previous band called the Square Cools. Other nerds will remember that they had a song off the first Maximum Rock and Roll double compilation album. Anyway, Tales of Terror record is really ahead of its time. This is the back cover. We almost made a t-shirt of this through bifocal media, and I think what happened is a couple of these guys are dead, unfortunately. One of them, one of the guitar players, got killed actually on the street of either Sacramento or San Francisco, I'm not sure. And the bass player is also dead, and I think the singer has some degree of, well, I'm not sure what he has, but maybe he's, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not here to speculate on their fates, but anyway, this almost happened, but we couldn't really get in touch with anybody that could speak for all the members, and I think the sister of one of the guitar players was not too thrilled about the idea of his memory being, you know, basically him surrounded by a bunch of beer cans and alcohol. Even though I don't think anybody would really care about that. But I understand that. So anyway, I think that was the main reason we hit a snag, so we never were able to do it. But this artwork is still here, so if anybody's interested in owning it, they can drop me a line. Sleep. this was another idea that was kicked around for a while, and we may or may not have been able to do something. We were real close. I was talking to Al, the bass player for Sleep. I met these guys once. This was more out of a trying to be just over the top and ridiculous, because their whole thing is gratuitous pot smoking references and tongue firmly in cheek. So I thought this definitely kind of captured that vibe. It's more of like, these guys were all really nice, more so than I'm not really particularly a big fan, but I do like the people in it, and I thought, well, this would have been a no-brainer, but it never happened, and I have this sitting around, so if anybody wants it, drop me a line. Alice Cooper Group from the Killer period, the original Alice Cooper Group. I made prints out of this a while ago. I think this came out pretty good. It's sitting here, nice quality paper. If you're interested, there it is. Larissa Strickland of the Laughing Hyenas. We were able to do a couple t-shirts through some of the ex-members, mainly dealing with Kevin, one-time bass player, and Todd, one-time drummer. And I think John Brandon also gave us his blessing, so I'm not sure if this was the one that made it. I don't remember, to be honest, but this was done for a t-shirt, and it's here. If you're interested, let me know. This is kind of stupid. It's the Trailer Park Boys as members of Rush, 2112. I tried to get this into the hands of the people involved by sending a message, but can you imagine how many people write to the Trailer Park Boys with stupid shit to send them? And this would be no exception to that, so not really surprising that nobody said, wow, this is really cool, let's do this for a t-shirt or a poster or whatever. But there it is. If you are a Trailer Park Boy fan and you are interested, there it is. All right, Antioch Arrow. I liked Antioch Arrow a lot. I would say after the first wave of, and I'm dating myself because I'm just a product of my age group, my generation. My generation was basically my generation. My generation was basically the 80s. After hardcore punk rock got kind of burnt, it was probably like between 85 and 86. It was obviously over. All the bands were breaking up, changing, whatever. There was very little stuff coming out after 1986 that I gravitated towards in this world of music. I wasn't really necessarily looking for it anymore, but I came across Born Against and loved Born Against, and I really liked Antioch Arrow, their early stuff, and even the Gems of Masochism stuff I really like. It's really weird, and they have a lot to answer for, I think. I don't think that's really necessarily their fault, obviously, but this is from one of the Gems of Masochism songs where Aaron sings, "Your mascara is running, it's running, it's running." Anyway, this was made into a bifocal media t-shirt. I think it reached the 10 people that were probably interested in Antioch Arrow, but Antioch Arrow were one of the 3 or 4 bands since 1986 that I thought had anything to do with what I liked about punk rock and hardcore. It's kind of like a tight, arty sort of version of Void. Anyway, that's here too. Here's another Larissa Strickland thing. This wouldn't have made a good shirt. This is based off of a really cool photograph that this gentleman that lived in Ohio took. I want to say Jay Photomaker is his name. And I got that wrong, I'm sorry. It was a really cool photo. And I just looked at it and drew my version of the photo. And it's pretty cool, I think. So if that is interesting to you, let me know. Steve Ignorant of Crass. I like Steve Ignorant of Crass. I think he's a really interesting guy. And I was just going through a Crass going down a crass rabbit hole one day and did this a while ago. When did I do it? 2018. Okay, so it's a few years old. Anyway, I've never tried to make any of the images I've done of crass into anything or bothered anybody from crass, really, because I think they have that market sealed up pretty well, you know. I have a lot of respect for the members of crass for doing what they did. I never actually even liked crass when I was younger. I liked reading what they had to say in their huge pamphlets and stuff, and I never really gave their music a try. And then finally, I don't know, it's about like 5 or 6 years ago that I realized how utterly wrong I was about crass, especially the Penis Envy album, which is a fucking amazing record. I can't say I necessarily agreed with everything they had to say, but they walked the walk and they talked the talk, and then they broke up when they were done. Living together in a big house, you know, how long can that really last? Maybe a long time, who knows? This last drawing is one of the band from Canada, Career Suicide. And I've met a few of these guys. The singer, I think, is Martin, and Jonah doesn't really quite look like Jonah. Jonah also plays drums and Fucked Up, which is how I met him. And he had this, you know, other side of him where he played guitar. And Career Suicide is the name of the band. An Off Again, On Again band. That's a good band. And I used the Bones skull logo. I don't even remember why we did this, but it just ended up being that way. And this is also a Bifocal Media t-shirt. Anyway, there you go. So there, that wasn't so bad. And those are stories behind the artwork. Anyway, that's it. So again, if any of this stuff is of any interest to you, drop me a line at reluctantking@hotmail.com, and I will be sure to write back. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Until next time, so long.